The silence of the deep woods can be deceptive. It promises solitude, peace, and the raw beauty of nature. But sometimes, the silence is broken by a sound that is too loud, too primal, too impossible to ignore. Tonight, we look at the final 5 mysteries, ranging from the vast, unexplored wilds of the Northwest to the quiet, historical dread of New England, all proving that true monsters are not the ones who linger, but the ones who hide. For generations, the vast, unexplored temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, stretching from Northern California up through Washington and into British Columbia, have guarded one of the world's most enduring and frustrating secrets: Bigfoot. Or as the Native American tribes call him, Sasquatch. This is not merely a tale. This is a multi-decade investigation into a biological anomaly. The description is strikingly consistent across thousands of sightings. A massive, bipedal hominid, standing between 6 and 10 feet tall, covered in thick, dark brown or reddish hair, possessing immense strength, and emitting a foul, pungent odor. The build-up to its modern legend is paved with hundreds of thousands of documented footprint casts, including the famous Patty prints from the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, arguably the most debated piece of cryptid evidence in history. But the true terror of the Bigfoot phenomenon lies in the sound. Witness accounts, particularly those from hunters and loggers deep in the backcountry, often describe the screams and woodknocks vocalizations so powerful, so aggressive, and so non-human that they instantly induce panic and flight. These are not bear calls or elk bugles. These are intelligent, territorial challenges that sound like a distorted blend of gorilla and banshee. The mystery centers on the fact that an animal so massive, requiring tons of food, has managed to evade every single attempt at capture or verifiable biological documentation. The twist of the Bigfoot narrative is simple. For a creature of this size to exist without hard evidence in the 21st century, it means either the largest, longest-running mass hoax in history is true, or that there are pockets of North American wilderness that remain so vast, so dense, and so utterly inaccessible that an entire species of giant primate is living right under our noses, maintaining a level of intelligent, deliberate stealth that borders on the truly supernatural. Hey friends, you're in Dreamcatcher Stories, your cozy corner for stories that got lost along the way. Tell me, where are you watching from, and what time is it there for you? Hit me up in the comments and tell me how this one hits you. Now, let's get sneaky and peek behind the curtain. In 19th century New England, before modern medicine provided clarity on diseases like tuberculosis or consumption, as it was known, communities were often terrified by inexplicable wasting sicknesses. When consumption ravaged entire families, leaving victims pale, weak, and coughing up blood, they sought desperate answers, rooted in superstition. This fear gave rise to the grim, but non-supernatural legend of the Vampire of Rhode Island. The core of this true historical event centers on the Brown family in Exeter, Rhode Island. Between 1883 and 1892, George Brown lost his wife, Mary Eliza, and 2 daughters, Mary Olive and Mercy Lena, all to consumption. When George's son, Edwin, also began to show the same fatal symptoms, the family and the community were overcome with fear. They believed that one of the deceased family members was not truly dead, but had transformed into a vampire, consuming the life force of the living from the grave. The climax of this dark chapter arrived in March 1892. Following local tradition, George Brown allowed the bodies of the deceased to be exhumed to find the source of the draining curse. The remains of the 2 older females were mostly skeletal. However, when they opened the casket of the youngest daughter, Mercy Lena Brown, who had died only 2 months earlier, the townspeople were horrified. Due to the cold New England climate, her body was remarkably preserved, and blood, or rather, a brownish fluid, was still visible in her heart. To the superstitious, this was absolute proof. Mercy was the vampire. To stop the curse and save Edwin, the townspeople performed a grim ritual. They removed Mercy's heart, burned it on a rock, and mixed the ashes with water, which they then fed to the ailing Edwin as a supposed cure. The ultimate tragedy, the twist, is that the ritual failed. Edwin Brown died 2 months later, confirming the scientific reality of the disease, not the superstition of the monster. The legend of Mercy Brown remains a painful, visceral account of how fear and ignorance can lead desperate people to perform unimaginable acts, forever marking her as America's most famous documented case of vampirism based on medical misunderstanding. We move from historical myth to a location so saturated with unexplained phenomena that it defies scientific explanation. The secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Located in northeastern Utah, this 512-acre property is perhaps the most heavily studied paranormal hotspot in world history. The mystery began with the previous owners, the Sherman family, who reported phenomena that were immediately dismissed as mass delusion: massive mutilated cattle, impossible aerial light displays, invisible forces attacking their family, and sightings of monstrous animals like a huge werewolf-like creature and massive, silent predator. The sheer volume and bizarre variety of the incidents eventually led to the ranch being purchased and extensively studied by the National Institute for Discovery Science, funded by aerospace mogul Robert Bigelow. This is the Scary Park segment, a contained environment where every known type of anomaly seems to congregate. Scientists reported seeing portals to other dimensions, observing objects the size of basketballs emerging from the ground, and experiencing persistent, focused electromagnetic interference. Even the advanced surveillance equipment brought in often failed or recorded impossible anomalies. In one documented event, multiple researchers witnessed an invisible force physically assault a dog, dragging it up a hill before it vanished, leaving behind only strange, massive footprints. The twist of Skinwalker Ranch is that after over 20 years of high-tech, methodical study by scientists and military intelligence officers, the question remains: what is it? Is it a nexus of interdimensional travel? Is it a US government experiment? Or is the phenomena tied to a powerful Native American curse against the land? The only certainty is that the land itself is actively hostile, projecting a continuous, bewildering barrage of physical and atmospheric disturbances that defy every known law of physics. Some mysteries are quiet, domestic, and insidious, infiltrating our homes through an innocuous medium: art. This is the legend of the Crying Boy painting. The mystery began in the 1980 seconds in England, but quickly became a terrifying viral phenomenon across America and globally, carried by magazines and sensational media reports. The original artwork, a series of mass-produced prints featuring tearful children, was done by Italian artist Giovanni Bragolin. The eerie phenomenon was simple. Whenever a house burned down, amidst the scorched debris and ruins, the print of the crying boy would be found perfectly intact, hanging on the wall or lying on the floor, untouched by the flames. The stories became overwhelming. Firefighters across Europe and the US began documenting this bizarre pattern, swearing that they had seen the undamaged painting at multiple fire sites. The psychological impact grew. People believed the paintings were cursed, carrying a malevolent energy that actively started fires or protected itself from the flames. Families were terrified to own the print, fearing it would be the ignition source for their own destruction. The climax arrived when the mystery was thoroughly investigated. The ultimate, satisfying payoff was an astonishing revelation. Forensic analysis discovered the prints were mass-produced using a specific type of fire-retardant varnish. Furthermore, the prints were often mounted on very dense boards without proper frame enclosures, making them extremely difficult to ignite and highly resistant to minor flames. The true legend isn't supernatural. It's a testament to mass hysteria. A scientific anomaly, a fire-retardant varnish, became interpreted as a terrifying supernatural curse, proving how quickly fear, when fueled by repetitive media coverage, can manufacture a monster where none exists. We close with a local cryptid that is both bizarre and rooted in the fear of scientific overreach: the Goatman of Maryland. This unsettling legend is centered around the areas of Prince George's County and other parts of rural Maryland, beginning in the 1970 seconds. The Goatman is described as a massive, powerful creature, part man, part goat, much like the mythological satyr, but significantly more malevolent and dangerous. It is often reported to wield an axe and attack vehicles and isolated couples. The legend gained widespread traction after a notorious incident in the early 70 seconds, where a pack of dogs was mysteriously killed and mutilated, an act immediately attributed to the Goatman. Eyewitnesses claimed he was tall, muscular, and had powerful hind legs, often letting out high-pitched, terrifying screams. The twist in the Goatman's lore lies in its alleged origin. Unlike traditional cryptids born from ancient myth, the Maryland Goatman is said to be the result of a scientific experiment gone horribly wrong at a nearby government agricultural facility. In this version, a crazed or reckless scientist was experimenting with gene splicing or cross-species breeding, resulting in the creation of the deformed, violent beast that now roams the woods, seeking vengeance or simply driven by animalistic rage. Whether born from myth, science fiction, or simply misidentified animals, the Goatman taps into a very modern American fear. The fear of what happens when we push the boundaries of science too far, creating an uncontrollable terror that is neither man nor beast. These final 5 mysteries: the hidden giant of the Northwest, the myth of the New England vampire, the chaotic force of Skinwalker Ranch, the cursed canvas, and the genetic terror of the Goatman, all serve as powerful reminders that the truth is often stranger and far more unsettling than fiction. And there we go. Another memory back from the dark. Don't go too far. I've got more mysteries itching to be told. Which story best captures the true potential for terror? The sheer scale and stealth of Bigfoot, or the scientific and cultural panic caused by the Crying Boy painting? Share your thoughts on these unique mysteries in the comments below. And if you dare to explore more hidden histories and terrifying cryptid encounters, be sure to subscribe to Dreamcatcher Stories and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay safe and think critically about the shadows.